Hey everyone, Warwick's here. So, decided to cut the content break a little bit short because I just got too excited about a number of different things that I've had rolling around in this head of mine, and then Blizzard went and announced a bunch of new hero talents to look at. So here we are, here we're recording. Before we get too deep into this, I just want to take a moment and say thank you to everyone that reached out to me across multiple platforms about my last video that I made. If you're not aware, just go look on my channel about it. Just to be mindful of your own triggers when you are watching that. Many of you reached out across a bunch of different platforms, whether you were WoW video viewers, reaction video viewers, or just people that have seen my channel and reached out and showed care. And I just want to take a moment and say thank you very much. I believe I got back to everybody. If I didn't, please let me know in the comments which platform you messaged me on, and I'll go check and make sure that I did respond to you. So, yeah, I told you at the end of that video we'd be doing more fun stuff next time, and here we are. So Blizzard released a bunch of new talent trees today. Maybe not blow this up so much. We've got a bunch of them here. So we've got 2 Death Knight trees, a Demon Hunter tree, the last Druid tree, another Hunter tree, the last Evoker tree, the last Mage tree, 2 Monk trees, Shaman tree, a Warlock tree, and a Warrior tree. So obviously we got our Druid of the Claw for Feral and Guardian Druids. I will be doing a video on that. BM and Survival Hunters for Pack Leader. I will be doing a video on that. And then, of course, we're talking about our Brewmaster and Windwalker Monk, and then our Mistweaver and Windwalker Monks. I'll be doing videos individually on both of those. Today, we're going to be starting with Shado-Pan, which I kind of figured was going to be a Brewmaster Windwalker hybrid type tree. And, well, I was rewarded by being correct. So I have not looked at any of these. These got announced at around 2 o'clock today, and I am here at 7 p.m. my time as I get ready to record this before I go jump in and continue to participate in the guild event that I'm doing this week. So we're going to be jumping into this. So we're going to start with Shado-Pan, which is Brewmaster and Windwalker Monk. So let's just start with it. I haven't looked at any of this, so this is the first initial impressions that we get of it. The more and more I think about it, I'll do follow-up videos later on about them. So we're going to start with Overwhelming Flurry. Dealing damage equal to your maximum health generates a flurry charge. For each 400 energy you spend, you will unleash all flurry charges as flurry strikes, dealing physical damage per charge. If this is going to be... Sounds like it's going to deal per charge. So, like, it just kind of depends. Does it hit one target or does it hit all targets? We'll see. Now, I always go left to right on these, so we're going to start with the left side. We immediately get a choice node. Flurry strikes have a 15% additional chance to crit. Okay, I mean, both Windwalker and Brewmaster really value crit right now, so I don't know how much this is going to be worth. High impact enemies who die within 5 seconds of being damaged by a flurry strike explode, dealing damage to uncontrolled enemies within 8 yards. So it ignores CC, which is good. Okay, so Pride of Pandaria I think is going to be good for raid situations, because obviously unless you're in a boss fight where targets die quite a bit, which there's not that many boss fights where that happens, Pride of Pandaria is just going to be a consistent sort of damage increase. High impact, obviously very good in Mythic Plus. I think that's just kind of where we're at. We go straight into another choice node. Protect and Serve. Your Vivify always heals you for an additional 30% of its total value. Or Lead from the front. Chi Burst, Chi Wave, and Expel Harm now leech 20% of damage dealt. I don't see Protect and Serve being used a ton. I don't Vivify myself a lot. Outside of some very specific situations, so that could be very useful in a fight, like for example Agira when I'm doing soak and I am vivifying myself to try to take a little load off my healers. That'd be something where it'd be useful. Chi Burst, Chi Wave, Expel Harm. Now Expel Harm for Brewmaster is used a ton, so this is going to be a really nice pick for Brewmaster. Chi Burst and Chi Wave, I think it just kind of depends. Windwalker, you kind of don't use these a ton. Chi Burst or Chi Wave, you just kind of use them as they are, so getting 20% leech on the damage that it deals, probably not going to be a ton of healing. So Protect and Serve is probably going to be a safe pick, but Lead from the front for Brewmaster I think is going to be pretty much the mandatory pick in this option here. So both of these are kind of meh. I'm not really feeling either of these. Against all odds, Flurry Strikes decreases your agility by 1% per 6 seconds, stacking up to 20 times. So every time you get a flurry strike out there, then we'll go from there. Now, because this is equal to your maximum health, I think that this is going to it'll be very interesting to see how that stacks up. I'll have to kind of play with it and see, because obviously for Brewmaster, like right now in full raid buffs, I sit like 1.3 million health in Brewmaster spec, whereas my Windwalker spec, I'm sitting around 800,000, 850,000, I think, without going in the game and checking. So this is going to be a very interesting talent setup, where obviously Windwalker, you're going to gain these charges a lot faster, but you also spend the energy quite a bit less often. So I think for Windwalker, you're going to end up stacking these flurry charges more often, because for Brewmaster, you're using 30 energy. I think it's 30 energy on Tiger Palm, you're using 30 energy on Keg Smash, using 30 energy on Spinning Crane Kick. So you kind of always are running energy, whereas for Windwalker, you're only really using energy on Tiger Palm and the occasional Expel Harm. So you're using like 50 energy on Tiger Palm a time, so it's like every 8 Tiger Palms, you are going to unleash these. And so how much damage do you do in between that? How many charges can you realistically get? So it's going to be interesting to see. But a little bit of agility I think is good for both specs, because they both really value it. Obviously it helps stagger for Brewmaster, just straight up attack power as well. Fine. Again, not exciting down this row. I'm not really vibing on it too much so far, but it's all good stuff, but I don't necessarily think it's great. Veteran's Eye, striking the same target 5 times within 2 seconds grants 2% haste. Multiple instances of this effect may overlap, stacking up to 10 times. Flurry of Blows and Spinning Crane Kick. Like, what? Also, granting haste, like, unless you're gonna do something to fix the haste scaling for both specs, this sucks. I don't like it. So that tells me they've got a plan to do something to make haste valuable to Brewmaster and Windwalker. At least optimistic me is saying that. Otherwise, I think this is just kind of shit, and you're not gonna notice this. You're not gonna fucking care. So very curious how to do that. And then 5 times within 2 seconds. Like I said, Fist of Fury. Like, what ability do you have that hits that many times that quickly? Like, and it has to be the same target. So like, are we talking about like every instance of damage? So there's like a Breath of Fire tick, a Tiger Palm tick, the flame fire damage, plus the kick from like Rising Sun Kicker that happen, like Rushing Jade Wind. Like, if all of that happens within 2 seconds, do you get the 2 seconds? And for Windwalker, it's kind of the same thing. Like, it's what, maybe Fist of Fury combined with something. I mean, Windwalker doesn't really have a dot, so there's nothing that's really going to strike that often. I'll be curious. It tells me they're doing something with the kits. 1 versus many. Damage dealt by Fist of Fury and Keg Smash count as double toward Flurry Charge generation. Okay, maybe that's what we do, and then each get a damage increase, Fist of Fury by 10, Keg Smash by 30. This is the type of node that I really like. So this basically, so if you do, say, Fist of Fury does, let's just say it does 200,000 damage over the course of a channel, it's going to count as 400,000 damage dealt. So that's going to make your Flurry Charge stack up a lot better. So interesting. It's only Keg Smash and not Exploding Keg, which is something to make note of, and it's not going to proc. It sounds like it's not going to proc off the Special Delivery talent as well, which does drop a keg onto your target after like what, 2 seconds or 3 seconds or something like that. So that's something to be mindful of. So it's fine. Probably the most interesting one so far, because of the damage counting double towards your Flurry Charge. I think that's pretty interesting. Efficient Training. Abilities to spend energy deal an additional 15% damage, and every 50 energy you spent reduces the cooldown of SCF, Serenity, and Weapons of Order by 1 second. So that's going to force you into a Weapons of Order build here for Brewmaster, which means they either need to move it way up the fucking tree or move it to the center of the tree, because there are builds where you cannot take it right now. So it's going to pigeonhole you into that build, which, I mean, a few of these trees are kind of doing that, so I'm not upset, but I mean, Weapons of Order is fine. And then SCF Serenity, that tells me Serenity is going to be around, which sucks because I kind of hate Serenity as it stands. And I actually kind of like Storm, Earth, and Fire, but it's just a big loss in single target to take. But, you know, more cooldowns and more damage on Tiger Palm, more energy. You know, so for Windwalker, this is kind of underwhelming because it's really only Tiger Palm and Expel Harm. Whereas for Brewmaster, this is really good because you're getting Expel Harm, Tiger Palm, Keg Smash, and Spinning Crane Kick, all that use energy. So really, really nice damage boost for Brewmaster. This is really meh for Windwalker. Attacks penetrate armor pen. What? 10% armor pen? That's a lot. Yo, that's a lot. Interesting. That's all attacks. That's a big dog. That's a big damage increase. Armor pen hasn't really been around a ton except in very niche cases for a long time because of Wrath of the Lich King, when you would just stack a bunch of it, especially if you were a hunter. You would just stack a bunch of it to where you basically ignored all armor and you would just hit like a fucking truck. Getting basically a 10% armor button for clicking this that's a big DPS increase. That's pretty good. Most of these talents that are on this first row are very passive, very simple, very boring. This one's not. This is a massive damage increase if I'm calculating the value correctly. Alright, and our final choice node, Whirling Steel. When you become injured, summon Whirling Steel, increasing your parry chance and avoidance by 15% for 6 seconds. Obviously, that sounds really good for Brewmaster. And PvE, obviously. PvP, I'm not really thinking about it from that perspective. For Windwalker, this is probably going to be what you pick, because avoidance is going to be good for AoEs and stuff like that. So you take a little hit. Hopefully, you don't have to do like the old good Karma degen gameplay. Where you intentionally stand in mechanics in order to maximize the damage or defensive output. So interesting. I think Whirling Steel is pretty good for Windwalker, but I think it's really nice for Brewmaster. And then Predictive Training. When you dodge or parry an attack, reduce damage taken by 10% for next 6 seconds. Okay, so pretty useless for Windwalker, in my opinion, because you don't have a ton of dodge or parry in the kit, and there's not really, like, you're just kind of relying naturally on that stuff, and that's really, really RNG. And a low proc chance RNG. So I'd like to see Predictive Training do something a little bit better for Windwalker. For Brewmaster, I think that's good because you're taking a lot of dodge talents. I don't take Dampen Harm. I take the alternative where it gives you 10% dodge. Like, this is a great tool. So getting 10% DR for 6 seconds, if it doesn't have an ICD, this could be up quite a bit, which means you're just getting a permanent 10% reduction, which is cool. But do you take the 15% avoidance? Like, there's some really cool implications with this. I think Windwalkers take Whirling Steel. I think Brewmasters take Predictive Training. So I guess the choice node does what they want based on what spec you're in. So it's kind of successful, kind of not in that regard. Vigilant Watch. Blackout Kick deals an additional 20% critical damage and increases the damage of your next set of flurry strikes by 10%. Both specs, you Blackout Kick a lot. Windwalker right now, it's your highest priority chi spender because of, especially when you have blackout reinforcement. So you're doing a ton of blackout kick work now. And Brewmaster, it's your like second or third best AoE ability behind Keg Smash and Rushing Jade Wind, and Spinning Crane Kick arguably. So it's really good cleave talent with Shadowboxing Treads doing additional damage. So this is good. I think this is a good synergy with Flurry Strikes, upping the damage of your Flurry Strikes as well. I kind of want to know what the damage of Flurry Strikes does. Like, how does it scale? Does it scale off of crit? Does it scale off of verse? Does it scale off your mastery? Or is it haste based? Like, what does it scale off of? But let's look at the capstone before we make any final judgments. Every 10 Flurry Strikes become infused with the Wisdom of the Wall for 20 seconds. Wisdom of the Wall grants the following effects. Your crit strikes deal an additional 30% damage. Alright, fine. I don't think crit damage is actually all that valuable, but it's something they've really leaned into, so great. Your Mastery's effect is increased by 25%. Okay, that's interesting for Brewmaster. I don't know what I think about it for Windwalker. Versatility now also increases your dodge and critical strike chance by 25% of its effect. Oh, whoa. Verse becomes like this super interesting stat. Now, crit verse, just like crit verse, crit mastery, or verse mastery pieces, like all three of those, they're leaning into that even more. And then Flurry Strikes now deal additional shadow damage to all controlled enemies within 6 yards when you get this Wisdom of the Wall. Interesting. I really like this capstone. This is a very cool capstone, in my opinion. Really, really like it. Very, very cool. So yeah, definitely interested in seeing what this brings to the table. Shado-Pan overall, if you're rating these on a scale of 1 to 10, like I think Elun's Chosen for Bear so far, at least the ones that I've reviewed in depth, I really looked at for the specs that I'm most interested in playing, has still been the best one. Shado-Pan, like I would give Elun's Chosen like an 8 out of 10. There's some small things about it that I think need to be looked at, but overall I think it's a really, really good hero talent tree. Shado-Pan, I'm gonna give probably a 6.5. So I will do half stars on this. Like this choice node's kind of meh. This is kind of meh. This is kind of weird with haste. But then like one versus many is good. Efficient training is good. Martial precision is very, very good. I think the idea of overwhelming flurry is good. I need to learn more about it. So I'll go see if there's any developer interviews or anything like that that have been given out that we need to discuss. Vigilant Watch, I think this side is pretty good. I think this middle after Veteran's Eye is good. So they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 talents out of 8, 9. I was just, we'll do it this way. How many nodes in this do I think are good? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it's a 7 out of 10. We'll just go with that. 7 out of 10. Against all odds, it's like fine. I wouldn't say it's good. It's kind of fine. This choice node is weird, and this choice node is like, it's very binary in my opinion. So, but that is my first impression of Shado-Pan. I'm going to be batch recording here, so you're going to see this get up a little bit in the next couple of videos as I go over Conduit of the Celestials, and then we're going to be taking a look at the Druid one, and I'll do a video on the Hunter one, Survival Hunter, because I love survival. And then I'm going to take a look at the Frost DK ones on my own. Probably not doing videos on them because I'm really hoping Frost DK gets reworked. Anyways, guys, again, 7 out of 10 I would call this. I think it's good. There's some things that really need to be done. I'm not excited about it for a raid purpose for Brewmaster or Windwalker, but for Mythic Plus, I think there's a lot of potential sitting in this tree. So we're going to take a look at Conduit of the Celestials in the next video. So until then, hope you're all staying safe. Hope you're enjoying yourself. You're having fun. You keep on gaming. We'll see you in the next video.